Happy New Year. I'd like to call this meeting of your Newark City Council to order, June 45th, 2015. Please call the roll.
Mr. Cox. Here. Mrs. Floyd. Here. Mr. Guthrie. Here. Ms. Hall. Here. Mr. Johnson. Here. Mr. Marmee. Here. Mr. Rath.
Here.
Mr. Roletta.
Here.
Mr. Blake.
Here.
And Mr. Buck.
Here. Thank you all. We have all here this evening. Next on the agenda is the invocation by Mr. Johnson, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance.
Let us pray. Almighty Lord of all time and eternity, grant us grace as we stand with mingled hopes and fears facing a new year. Our faith is in your strength and in our body and mind and soul, that we may do your will. Whatever holds for us in this next year, prepare us with humble and reverence to do your will. Be with our leaders, be with our deliberations. We pray in your name. Amen.
Amen. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. Next on the agenda this evening, we have caucus. That's the time the council to discuss anything that may be on the agenda this evening. Do we have anything? Next, we have the minutes from the December 15, 2014 council meeting. Do we have a motion to approve those? Motion by Mr. Rath, second by Mr. Johnson. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Thank you. That passes. Next on the agenda this evening, we have appointments. Mayor Hall has an appointment of Tony Fox to the Board of Zoning Appeals. Mayor, would you like to give us a little synopsis of that, please?
Yes, through these appointments I kind of reach out and get some suggestions from people as to who to appoint, and we talk to them. What I'd like to do is ask Director Motter to step up and lecture a minute, and he's known Mr. Fox for quite a few years through the industry and through the business, and he can explain some of his attributes that make him well qualified for the position.
Thank you.
Well, when the mayor asked for some recommendations, one of the names that I gave him was Mr. Tony Fox. Some of the reasons I gave him Tony's name as a recommendation is because, number one, he's been involved in the real estate industry and the building industry really since 1983. Tony also lives in the city of Newark. His business address is also here in the city of Newark. He's been an owner of KBI Construction, that's his business, since 1986. He also has a real estate license and sells commercial real estate. He also is an experienced commercial developer, investor, and an owner. One of the other qualifications, he's a past president of the Buckeye Valley Building Industry Association. Their office is just 2 doors down here to the east. And finally, I also talked to Steve Lehman, who's been on the Board of Zoning Appeals for many years, and he's also the chair of the Board of Zoning Appeals, and he also gave Tony a good recommendation. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. With that, I just seek your approval in appointing Tony to that board. As everyone knows, it's a non-paid position, and I didn't have a list of 20 to pick from, but I think he's more than qualified for that position. It does meet every month on the 4th Thursday, and it is a fairly active board that meets quite a bit. Not always maybe delivering the kindest words to people, but delivering the zoning code in its proper order. So, thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. This term will begin January 1, 2015 and expire December 31st, 2018. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. That will be approved. Next this evening on reports of city officials, we have Mayor Hall, who's going to give us the State of the City address. I'll be there for a moment.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Newark City Hall Council Chambers for the 2015 State of the City Address. 2014 was a busy and productive year for the City of Newark, with the expectations of this to continue for the next several years. I'd like to thank City Council, along with the Newark City Auditor, the Treasurer, the Law Director, and Municipal Court Judges, Clerk of Courts, and our Directors for their hard work over this previous year. With their support, and the support of talented department heads and dedicated, hardworking employees, we are moving Newark forward. Many things cannot be accomplished without the wonderful support of our citizens and community-minded individuals, businesses, and organizations that are providing help through various public-private partnerships. Thank you to all. We continue to achieve gains by operating Newark in a teamwork environment with focus on strong communication, financial planning, and due diligence through research and open dialogue. We continue to focus in 5 key areas to make Newark an even better city to live, work, and raise our children. These 5 areas are safety, neighborhood improvement, economic development, local school support, and efficient and effective government operations. I'll first talk about safety. I'm pleased to report our city was, is, and will continue to be a safe place to live, work, and raise a family. The number of fires continues to decrease in both frequency and severity, and our EMS save rate benchmarks well above similar agencies. Fire prevention services are being aggressively delivered, as no fire is safer than the one that doesn't occur. Our city can take great pride as both divisions of police and fire EMS are now nationally accredited. That's not a standard in many cities across America in many ways. So it places them in the top 1% to 2% of all agencies in North America. We now utilize the multi-agency radio communication system, also tagged as the MARC system radios, and a new computer-aided dispatch interface to provide better service. The MARCS radios is a new state-delivered system that we subscribe to, and through some good enhancements, and we acquired radios at a good cost that can transmit across even channels when all departments across the county have equal access to those services. A new downtown fire station is being constructed with a commitment to safety, quality, and fiscal restraint to better serve our citizens. 2 firefighters were hired in 2014, along with 3 police officers. They are well on their way to becoming honorable public servants. Blue Card Incident Command Training was delivered to all Newark Fire Department officers. The Blue Card program is designed to train fire department officers to serve in the role of local incident commander. These officers supervise emergency and hazard zone operation events that may occur throughout the city, and as we stretch out to do mutual aid across the county. In 2014, we bid farewell to Chief Jack Stickrad, who served in that management capacity for 16 years and was a member of the Newark Fire Department for 35 years. We appreciate the knowledge and professionalism he shared with the department. We were able to successfully mitigate an imminent community threat by demolishing 2024 North 4th Street, the building that was behind City Hall. A unique public-private partnership was utilized in this project. All signs were to indicate we didn't think that building could stand or last through another winter. After several years of work encompassing numerous meetings of local and state officials, we are pleased that the project to improve the interchange at State Route 16 and Cherry Valley Road has been moved to a priority Tier 1 status. Upon its completion, the safety at that intersection will be greatly improved and provide peace of mind to thousands of travelers and commuters that travel through it on a daily basis. Neighborhood improvement. We completed Phase 2 and are on course to complete Phase 3 of the State of Ohio Attorney General's Moving Ohio Forward Grant, also known as the Demo Grant, removing additional blighted and unsafe structures from neighborhoods across our city. Through a more streamlined process in the property maintenance department, we cut grass at more than 135 properties and cleaned up curb trash at 30 locations, resulting in a cleaner Newark. This was all done through enforcement channels with appropriate financial liens placed on those properties. Our Department of Development has established a strong relationship with Habitat for Humanity and the private sector, working hand in hand to build homes to improve our neighborhoods and offer affordable housing to new owners that otherwise not be available. Using federal tax incentives, the private sector has stepped up and facilitated major housing rehabilitations on Weston Road and Glenbrook Drive in Newark, without which these properties would have continued to decline. I personally visited and toured the properties, witnessing firsthand the great improvements to those neighborhoods. Thank you to those developers for their investments in Newark. Our Newark Police Department has enhanced our presence in the community by visiting with neighborhood block watch groups and providing guidance to them in their much appreciated volunteer efforts. 2014 saw additional renovations to Everett Park, through the use of donated funds and volunteerism. Thank you to the Newark Advocate for the generous donations and their employees' hard work on Make a Difference Day in October. The park also added donated fencing at 2 baseball diamonds along with a wonderful community garden. A water spray park was added at Hollander Pool along with an expanded parking lot utilizing grant dollars received by the city. Economic development. Economic development continues in Newark with the guidance of Newark Development Partners, our local community improvement corporation. New businesses have located in our downtown district along with 2nd and 3rd floor loft apartments in anticipation of the upcoming renovation project, Newark, transitioning our downtown into an improved destination and commercial district. This is all being done with the creative use of utility line improvement funds to not put any additional strain on our general fund dollars. The downtown hotel converted to a Hilton Doubletree in July with the beginning phase of the Canal Market District and Pavilion slated for the spring of 2015. Both of these projects are wonderful welcome venues to visitors to our great city. State Farm, once again, chose downtown Newark as the location for their employee holiday event with over 700 employees enjoying downtown hospitality throughout the day on Saturday this past December. Our Don Edwards Park, with its 4 top-notch baseball fields, continues to draw people from out of town while pleasing our local baseball players and fans, hosting nearly 350 games this past season. The Lou and Gibb Reese Ice Arena had another successful year, offering outstanding facilities for ice hockey. While serving as the home ice for our own Newark Generals team, it was once again the site of the CIHA College Ice Hockey Association tournament in April, hosting 12 teams from across the country as far as the West Coast. Revitalization of the Trout Club on the city's north side is now in progress and will provide new jobs and a newly improved destination for golf and dining. I'd like to congratulate the downtown law firm of Schaller, Campbell & Untie for celebrating 100 years of business this past October. The congratulations also goes out to Wilson, Shannon, and Snow for their 60 years in business, also located in our downtown area. And finally, congratulations to Velvet Ice Cream, located just north of Newark, for serving wonderful ice cream for the past 100 years. Local school support. We continue to augment our relationship between Newark City Schools and our Division of Police by ensuring routine patrols of all facilities to help provide a safe environment for our students. We regularly work on projects with the local schools to grow relationships between schools and local governments. The Newark Schools Graduation Rate Committee, a group of some 30 individuals and nonprofit organizations, continues to meet on a regular basis to improve the graduation rate at Newark High School, which has increased by 20% over the past 5 years. Thank you to everyone involved. A Safe Routes to School grant that was awarded to us will materialize soon through the addition of a new walk bridge over the water ditch for students who attend Liberty Middle and Legend Elementary schools, along with improved sidewalks and pedestrian crossings near Wilson Middle School. 2014 saw the start up of the Newark Youth Council, guided with input from Councilman Jeremy Blake and myself, along with teachers across the city. The Youth Council meets monthly right here in council chambers and has members from Newark High School, C-Tech, Newark Catholic High School, and the S-Block. The interaction between the students is outstanding. The youth will one day guide the future of Newark. I appreciate their current involvement in government through this council. Efficient and effective government operations. Once again, we start this year with a balanced budget for operations within the city in 2015. We worked on our electricity bills this past year and created an $80,000 savings through bidding out those services. We organized street and traffic departments, saving thousands of dollars. In the fire division, an entry-level test was administered utilizing a consortium to gain an economy of scale with a 60% cost reduction from previous years. We collaborated with other communities to provide a uniform test and location. The transition to a paperless environment continues with a new records retention policy and SharePoint technology. The citizens will enjoy cost savings of ink, paper, and time. We added a cremation garden at Cedar Hill Cemetery in response to demand for additional space. Our property maintenance department boosted revenue for the year by $13,440, which represents a 48% increase by organizing and streamlining services. We continued cooperation with the county on downtown development, such as the county's purchase of the Elbow Lounge and property on First Street for expansion sites. The courthouse also saw improvements with the addition of a privately funded carillon to enhance the holiday music experience. We're also working closely with the new Lincoln County EMA Director, Sean Grady, as he works to build on our already great emergency management system for our area. We've established great relationships with Denison University and its new president, Adam Weinberg, to help us guide Newark in a positive direction into the future while providing great experience for the university students. In conclusion, thank you for your wonderful support of our great city. Newark is poised to have a wonderful 2015 year. Have a nice evening, and thank you.
Thank you, very, very positive and enlightening. Thank you so much. Okay, next on the agenda we have also reports of city officials. We have one from Barb Jones, City Tax Administrator, the income tax collection reports ending December 15, 2014. Without objection, that will be received and filed. And under communications, we have 4 communications this evening. One from Chad and Chrissy Dale regarding fluoride in the city water. One from the trustees of the Newark Granville Community Authority. Notice of a special organizational meeting of the Board of Trustees of the Newark Granville Community Authority on January 12, 2015 at 5:30 at the Granville Exempted Village School District Administration Building. Also one from Charles Moore regarding the code for regarding goats in the city of Newark. And one from Elizabeth Acord, petition of signatures that she turned in. Without objection, those will be received and filed. Next on the agenda this evening, we have comments from citizens. There's 2 places for comments, one now and one after the legislation. Basically, this is not a debate with council. This is just an opportunity for you to come up and give us your opinion. Is there anyone who would like to speak this first section of citizens' comments? Okay. Please give us your name and address for the record, if you would.
Daniel Crawford, 163 South 2nd Street. All right. Excuse me, I didn't have this printed out like I do the others. This is much shorter than what it looks like. Anyways, a few weeks ago, we heard from a number of citizens about the issue of decriminalizing marijuana. Tonight, I want to contribute to this discussion. Let me begin by posing a question. What has prohibition done for us? What is the purpose of prohibition? Do we, as a society, aspire to protect the consumer? Is there a legitimate danger to the public that must be addressed? Or is this just a case wherein a taboo behavior is banned because it makes us feel better? Regardless of the answer to those questions, the one thing that is clear is that prohibition has not stopped anyone who wants to consume marijuana from doing so. If the objective is to protect the consumer, then let us examine why this is hardly a sufficient excuse to restrict the use of any substance. Assuming, for the sake of argument, that marijuana is harmful to the body, is not prohibition based on these grounds adequate for banning the personal consumption of other things? What about alcohol, cigarettes, sugar, salt, or fast food in general? Need I go on? The list of harmful products that we humans regularly consume, despite their effects on our health, is long. But we aren't seriously prepared to start throwing people in jail for a charge as ridiculous as possessing the ingredients for making Kool-Aid, now are we? If the goal is to protect society, then I must challenge you to address what it is about a pot smoker that harms the rest of us. Is he or she any more likely to become violent or otherwise problematic under the influence of marijuana than an equally inebriated patron of your local bar? Why is the stereotypically lazy pothead more in need of a criminal record merely for possessing the plant they intend to consume than the alcoholic who carries a bottle home in a paper bag? If we are concerned about protecting our cultural image, then there too opens a potential floodgate for more needless prohibitions. Picking one's nose is considered unseemly as well, but it would be laughably absurd to lock a person up for mining for nose gold. Is it not time to dispense with arbitrary restrictions on relatively harmless personal behavior? We should not just be looking to decriminalize marijuana here in Newark. Rather, the goal ought to be a transition from the oppressive prohibition to a liberating legalization. By legalizing marijuana in the long term, we can begin the process of allowing the most affected by prohibition to build a new life that isn't tainted with a nonsensical criminal record. Also, we can explore the best options for tapping into the potential tax revenue that such could produce, and stop wasting taxpayer money on waging a failed, endless war on drugs. Eventually, permitting the legal sale of marijuana via the same route that tobacco is sold can prove beneficial in undercutting the black market. Finally, legalization can enable us to regulate marijuana so as to ascertain that the product will at least be somewhat safe to consume. Ultimately, this debate will have to be settled nationally, but we have a chance to lead Ohio and probably even the region by taking action now. The prohibition of marijuana has not succeeded in preventing the use thereof. Actually, its illegality has contributed to its appeal in some respects, and the only harm that has come from such has been to the lives of the men and women ruined by this aimless experiment of the nanny state. So, please consider your options. And if you don't want to vote on it, then give us citizens a chance to determine whether this is the course we want. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Crowley. Anyone else for this first section of citizens' comments?
Hi, my name is Victoria Cohen, 24 Jefferson Street, Newark, Ohio. I was here last time and spoke to you about the driver license issue for the state with the possession or even non-driving offenses related to marijuana. So tonight, really, I hope someone maybe has had a chance to look into it a little bit. I'm here to ask if we could have a committee that maybe we could work together with to try to work on getting this, the language more in line with the state. And we are actually in the top 1/3. We're in the top 1/3 of the only areas in the entire state that do take people's driver's license for this. The other 2/3 don't do it. Nobody does it. So I would ask that we actually formally go ahead and look into this and see about going ahead and getting that language changed if we could. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else for citizens' comments this evening?
Dennis Bouchard, 327 East Broadway in Vanderbilt. And I was here last time, and I just wanted to update you. I've actually completed a survey of what all the local marijuana laws are in Ohio in the 360 home rule communities, and I've got all of them, about 4,000. And essentially, 8.8% of home rule communities, based on populations, criminalize marijuana. So 91% don't. 9% do. So people in the 8% are sort of penalizing their residents for seeking employment. And secondly, is in home rule communities, Victoria is essentially correct. What I found is that 38% never suspend, 35% always suspend, and you're in always suspend, and then 27% are discretionary suspensions, so roughly 1/3. So rather than think too much in a group about the merits, I would encourage you to refer it to one of your committees just to see if there's anything that Newark should do to just sort of optimize how it handles marijuana. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else for this first section? Next we have resolution on the second reading, 14-95.
Resolution 14-95 by Mr. Cos, Mrs. Floyd, Mr. Marmee, Mr. Grant. A resolution authorizing the Director of Public Service to execute a contract for reimbursement of legal representation of indigent persons for calendar year 2015 with the Licking County Board of Commissioners for the City of Newark, Licking County, Ohio.
Heard the second reading of 14-95. What is your wish?
Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion to adopt 14-95.
Motion by Mr. Cost to adopt 14-95.
Second.
Second by Mrs. Floyd. Is there any discussion on 14-95? Seeing none, Autumn, please call the roll to vote.
Mr. Cost?
Yes.
Mrs. Floyd?
Yes.
Mr. Guthrie?
Yes.
Ms. Hall?
Yes.
Mr. Johnson?
Yes.
Mr. Marmee?
Yes.
Mr. Rath?
Yes.
Mr. Roletta?
Yes.
Mr. Blake?
Yes.
and Mr. Buck.
Yes. 14-95 has passed, 10-0. Next, we have 14-96.
Resolution 14-96 by Mr. Cost, Mrs. Floyd, Mr. Marmee, Mr. Rapp, a resolution affirming the base rate for the stormwater utility service charge as authorized by the codified ordinance of the City of Newark, Ohio.
First and second reading of 14-96. What is your wish?
Mr. President,
Cost.
I'd like to make a motion to adopt 14-96.
Motion to adopt by Mr. Cost, second by Mrs. Floyd. Is there any discussion on 14-96? Seeing none, I'll please call the roll vote.
Mr. Cost?
Yes.
Mrs. Floyd? Yes. Mr. Guthrie?
Yes.
Ms. Hall?
Yes.
Mr. Johnson?
Yes.
Mr. Marmee?
Yes.
Mr. Rapp?
Yes.
Mr. Roletta?
Yes.
Mr. Blake?
Yes.
And Mr. Buck?
Yes. 14-96 passes 10-0. Next, we have 14-98.
Resolution 14-98 by Mr. Cost, Mrs. Floyd, Mr. Marmee, Mr. Rapp, a resolution adopting the updated countywide all-natural hazards mitigation plan for Licking County, Ohio.
First, second reading of 14-98. What is your wish?
Mr. President,
Cost.
make a motion to adopt 14-98.
Motion to adopt by Mr. Cost, second by Mrs. Floyd. Do we have any discussion on 14-98? Seeing none, Autumn, please call the roll vote.
Mr. Cost?
Yes.
Mrs. Floyd? Yes. Mr. Guthrie?
Yes.
Ms. Hall?
Yes.
Mr. Johnson?
Yes.
Mr. Marmee?
Yes.
Mr. Rapp?
Yes.
Mr. Roletta?
Yes.
Mr. Blake?
Yes.
Mr. Buck?
Yes. 14-98 passes 10-0. And last on legislation this evening, we have 14-99.
Resolution 14-99 by Mr. Cost, Mrs. Floyd, Mr. Marmee, and Mr. Rapp is a preliminary piece of legislation for State Route 16 off-ramp at Church Street exit.
You've heard the second reading of 14-99. What is your wish?
Mr. President,
Cost.
I'd like to make a motion to adopt 14-99.
Motion by Mr. Cost, second by Mrs. Floyd. Any discussion on 14-99 before we vote? Autumn, please call the roll vote.
Mr. Cost?
Yes.
Mrs. Floyd? Yes. Mr. Guthrie?
Yes.
Ms. Hall?
Yes.
Mr. Johnson?
Yes.
Mr. Marmee?
Yes.
Mr. Rapp?
Yes.
Mr. Roletta?
Yes.
Mr. Blake?
Yes.
And Mr. Buck?
Yes. 14-99 passes 10-0. And that does it for our legislation this evening. Very light evening. Once again on the agenda, we have comments from citizens. This is your second opportunity to comment. Do we have anyone who would like to comment again? Okay. Anyone from the administration would like to speak? Our honorable auditor, and award-winning auditor actually, Mr. Johnson.
Well, thank you. I'll pass this evening.
Honorable Auditor Director Sassen.
Thank you, Mr. President. Since there's no football tonight, I have a long speech. I'll leave that in there. I did just want to make one comment to put Daniel and Mr. Cowshaw and Ms. Khan's comments into context. As you know, we have a set of Newark laws and we have a set of Ohio laws, Ohio Revised Code, and we have no control directly over those provisions of the Ohio Revised Code. When we have a marijuana case come into, or a substance abuse case, or a paraphernalia case come into our office, we have the option of filing that under the local code or under the state code. Under the state code, if a person is charged and convicted of the offense of possessing marijuana, that's a minor misdemeanor. It's a criminal offense, but it's not a jailable offense. That carries a mandatory 6-month operator's license suspension. So just as a point of clarification, we're not in any kind of unique or draconian situation here in the city of Newark with our marijuana possession laws. The state law is that if you possess marijuana, that's a minor misdemeanor, and if you're convicted, that's a mandatory 6-month license suspension. So I just wanted that context to be added to the discussion. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sassen. Mayor Hall.
Said most everything, but happy New Year to everyone. And since I was waiting for Mr. Sassen to say it, I'll go ahead and say go Bucks. Since I know he must have forgot.
I got a feeling it's going to be long. Mr. Collison.
I will pass.
Mrs. Floyd.
First of all, Happy New Year, everybody.
I think with all the changes that are going on around town, I look forward to 2015 to things at least getting started. They'll get worse before they get better, but they will get better. So, and I live in an area where it's going to get lots worse before it gets better. I'd like to call personnel committee for next Monday night, and I'm hoping that committees next Monday night are short. We have things to go watch on TV. You know, there is a ball game. Let's get to the important things in life. I'm at council meeting. And finally, I want to mention, last council meeting, I passed out cards to you all about a historic Hudson Community Association chicken noodle dinner. That is January 17th at the Central Christian Church from 4 to 6. It's a Saturday, and I have tickets in case anybody's interested. And with that, go Bucks!
Mr. Guthrie. I'm good, thanks. Thank you, Mr. Guthrie. Ms. Hall.
I'll pass.
Mr. Cross, did you want to type?
I do need to call service for the meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Cross. Mr. Johnson.
I'd love to say go Bucks too, because I hope that it's a wonderful, wonderful time next Monday night. And Happy New Year to everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. Mr. Marmon.
Thank you. I will pass.
Mr. Rath.
I'll take all of Mr. Harvey's there.
Just take your own time. It's fine.
I just want to say Happy New Year to everybody. Mr. Barrett, great job on the State of the City address. I'm sort of excited about the development that's going on in Newark, both in the downtown area, but I guess I'm most excited about the recent announcements with the Cherry Valley interchange. It's been a long time coming. It should have been part of the four-way or the four-lane project. It was completed 10 years ago. Unfortunately, it wasn't, but it has been a long time coming, and very, very excited about what that's going to do to the west side of Newark. And now that that is moving forward, I don't want to forget, or let anybody else forget, about the phase 2 of that project, and that's the Thornwood interchange. It's great that we got Cherry Valley Road. It's going to be phenomenal, both in the areas of neighborhood development, economic development, and safety, to hit on 3 of the 5 points that the mayor hit on, to have Thornwood interchange developed as well. And then I'm not sure if it's a late season. I'm always talking about deer hunting and hunting season, so I just want to remind everybody that from now until next Monday is duck season. I keep hearing the duck clacking out and it is open duck season, so go Bucks. And then I'll pass.
Thank you, Mr. Rath. Mr. O'Leary. Thank you, Mr. President. I would like to call a safety committee meeting, and with that I'll pass. Thank you, Mr. O'Leary. Mr. Blake.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just want to thank you, and I want to thank the mayor and Director Martyr for giving some background information on Tony Fox. The president and I have had some conversations about these appointments, and it just puzzles me sometimes where we just find out a person, an individual, the recommended appointee on a particular night, and then we're expected to vote on it. So getting some background information on that individual is helpful. So I thank Director Martyr for thank him for standing up, thank the mayor for doing that. But I do think that we should look at that appointment process a little bit to understand, okay, well, how many other members are sitting on such a board? What are their terms? And, not only looking at just the appointee, but looking at what is the full impact of this vote, which we're expected to do. I mean, we just received on our agenda and we're expected to vote on it. So I would like to have some further conversations about formalizing something there. It just, I don't know, just something just doesn't stick right when the name comes up and you got to vote on it the same night. But I do want to say that with the people that talk about the marijuana stuff, you probably read about in the Columbus Dispatch and other news outlets, it seems like it's going to be on the ballot possibly this year. So you might want to put your efforts in working on that campaign if you're so inclined to do so. That would be my recommendation. But I do want to thank the mayor for the state of the city, heard some good things about the demo grants and property maintenance and such, but we know that the need is even greater out there within our neighborhoods. We do have a lot of property that serves. We still have a lot of watch groups that are wanting more attention from our police department. So those are things that we need to address in the future. I also want to thank him for the participation on the Newark Youth Council. So that's a great thing that we started this year. So thank you for that. And call finance for next week. And mention that Mr. Marmy will be leading that committee because I'll be gone next week. But that'll pass.
Thank you, Mr. Blake. Mr. Belch?
That'll pass, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bucks. Just a few housekeeping things. Next Monday, the 12th, we'll have committees here in this room at 5:30. Our next council meeting will be Tuesday, the 20th, at 7 o'clock because of the Monday holiday. I'd also like to add my soapbox to that situation for Mr. Saxon. I'd also like to welcome the Halls, Mr. and Mrs. Hall, and Philip and Helen. I actually welcomed you earlier. Glad to see you tonight. I'm not sure why you were here, but probably just wanted to come. With that, is there a motion to adjourn this evening?
Motion.
Motion by Mr. Rath, second by Mr. Johnson. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. We're adjourned.